Okay, your name?
Raymond Baker.
Okay, and your hometown, were you born and raised here?
No, I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I came here at 5 years of age.
Wow, and the name of your parents and their occupation?
Mildred and Sandy Hill. Mother nurse, father worked at cold storage.
Okay. And tell me about life growing up in Detroit.
It was lovely.
What neighborhood did you grow up in?
Brewster Projects.
Right, tell me about the Brewsters. What era was this? Years?
This was in the
Didn't stay open
middle
for 27
40s.
years. Stayed open 27 years.
It was in the middle 40s. I came in 46 to around 52 or 53.
Oh, that's a long
All
time.
my childhood years. That's where I met Bobby Wilson.
You know what? It was gangs, but the gangs didn't kill you.
No, they would cut you, but they would not kill you.
Catch you, beat you on the arm, or beat you on the leg, put frogs on you. They could have been Cocky. They called Cocky selling papers over on Burner Highway.
Cocky was Alfonso Fudge.
Great guy, great guy.
Great guy. Was he an athlete as well? Or
Yes, he was a football player.
Super football player.
For which school?
Miller.
Miller.
He
Wow.
went to Miller.
And I understand Miller was a high school, not a middle school, right?
The way it became a high school, it was an elementary and middle school first.
Right.
And then as the black population grew, white people did not want too many blacks going to Eastern, Southeastern, and Northeastern. So they opened up Miller as a high school to take in blacks and Dagos.
Wow. Did it work? Do you think
Yes,
it worked?
Yes, it did. It worked very well.
Wow. Wow. And then what other grade schools or schools you attended besides Miller? Was it just basically
That was a
Miller?
high school. Miller was a high school.
So what was your grade school?
My excuse me. My grade school was Lincoln.
Lincoln? Is that still open?
It's still in existence.
Oh, wow.
Do you know where Spain Junior?
Yes.
That old building right next to Spain
Yeah.
is Lincoln Elementary School.
It still has the same name?
Yes.
Well, they just put
Spain, it became Crockett. But Lincoln is still there.
Wow. And tell me some of you say you were born and raised basically in the Brewster Douglas Project.
No, there is a difference.
Oh, tell me, please enlighten me.
Brewster Projects was from 1935 on. They did not start building the Douglas until 1951. And it is a difference between Brewster and Douglas.
Wow, so now they just bunched it together and call it
Brewster Douglas.
Wow, but the Brewsters was in existence first.
Yes. Eleanor Roosevelt scooped up the first shovel of dirt to start building Brewster Projects.
Wow.
And if you would like a picture of her doing that,
yes,
go to the main library, go into the Burton collection, and look up Brewster Project, and you will see a picture of her scooping up the dirt to start building Will Walker.
They were building the
Douglas and the Jeffries in the same year, 1951. They broke ground for both East Side Douglas and West Side Jeffries.
Okay, and when do you think the Herman Gardens came in?
Herman Gardens was in the 1940s. It was an old project. It was really integrated. That was one of your first integrated projects.
Well, I heard Parkside was.
Parkside was on the far east side.
And it was for white military families. And then later, after the riot, that's when they opened the floodgates and let most of our African Americans come in.
I didn't know anything about the military for Parkside. All I knew was on the east side.
Right. And then you also had Sojourner Truth.
That was in Kona Gardens.
And those were also listed under military.
No, that was all black.
All black, but somewhat military roots, I heard.
It was no, We didn't have any military roots here.
Cass had a military. Cass had a military.
The only thing we had was Fort Wayne, and that's where you got inducted into the Army.
Right.
You were telling me about them soldiers on the phone.
Every weekend, the soldiers who was out of Fort Wayne, they used to let them out. And they used to come up and down Hastings Street. You couldn't even hardly walk down the street. The Army and Navy guys, because they had the submarine out of Belle Isle.
Yeah.
And they would come in and bring the money in. Look, it was penny arcades, everything there. You know, there was hustlers in there and everything. But you know what?
That's where your pimp bit came in.
Right now, define pimp, because it's a difference from the pimp back in the days from the pimp today.
Pimps back in the day.
They were considered somewhat businessmen, right?
They were businessmen, and they
respected.
They took care of their ladies who were the streetwalkers, and they even supplied them with a house and took care of them 100%.
Wow.
And they didn't beat them up either, because if they would be beating up a prostitute, men would come out and say, "Take it into the house. We don't want to see it in the streets." Yeah.
Wow, and what did they call the women of the evening? Madams, or what did they call them?
A madam and a prostitute is two different things. A madam ran a house. The prostitute worked the house.
And it was all legal back then?
No, it was not legal. It's never been legal.
They got picked up there, they can go down and take
They go down, pay their $25.
But they were respectable businessmen and women, though.
Well,
that
see,
profession was.
Wait a minute. Your most respected businessman was your neighborhood number man. Because if people needed a loan or anything, they would not go to a bank, they wouldn't go to the finance company, they'd go to the number man and borrow the money.
Wow.
And then he'd give it back to them.
Now, what if you wasn't able to pay it back? Did he break some legs and arms?
Oh, no, you always paid him back. There's no such thing as wasn't able. You found a way to pay him back.
Okay. Charles Prince was boxers. Was he from the Brewster Douglas?
No, he lived down on Illinois in St. Edward.
Okay, what are some of the legends that came out of the Brewster Douglas that you could recall?
It was only Brewsters. The legends.
Boxers, singers, writers, radio personalities, dancers, etc. Businessmen, women.
They were all...
We know Bobby Hall.
Tell them about the Mixon Chip and them. They was...
The who?
The Mixon brothers.
Was there athletes?
No. What is this?
What is it called?
Vietnam Veterans Headquarters on Woodward.
No, it sounds familiar. Tell me about it.
Edmond.
Tell me about it.
Okay, that used to be the most segregated restaurant in the city. They didn't even want black busboys. Everything had to be white there. Black wasn't allowed to go in there. They wasn't allowed to work in there or anything.
But see, they had to let the blacks in there because when we would go in there to swim,
no, we're talking about the restaurant now.
Tell me about the Big Four.
The Big Four was Detroit Police Department. It consisted of 3 plainclothes policemen and a uniformed driver. And all they did was go up and down the street, patrol street, keeping people off the street.
Off the street.
Yes.
Tell about the project.
Shorty Black.
Shorty Black.
Shorty Black, he was your first.
But
he was a security guard.
He was right, because he was never a policeman.
No, he was never a policeman.
Until he died, and they gave him.
He never wore a gun, and he was only like 5'5". But every kid in the neighborhood was scared of him.
Respected him.
Yes,
Shorty Black.
Shorty Black.
The neighborhood security guard. And he was over here at the Brewsters.
Yes, he was at Brewster.
Oh, wow. That's some history. Now, tell me about the 1967 Detroit riot.
That was not a riot, that was a civil disturbance because black people and white people looted and robbed together. Right. It was not a riot. It was a civil disturbance against the government.
Wow. So it wasn't just blacks.
No. It was everybody.
So I hear that it wasn't about civil rights or race.
No.
So what was it about? Don't tell me about the girl they thought that they threw in Bilal.
You know how they had Huey Brown, A-Trap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, and it was really a civil disobedience. That was all.
So did it change anything for the positive versus the negative,
or what? It did negative. Everything was negative because all the people did was burnt their own neighborhood down.
White was on the west of Woodward, black was on the east of Woodward.
Yeah.
But it first started out at Belle Isle.
That was 1943. That's a different one.
That's the one where they claimed it.
So you had to be like 5 or 6 at the 1943. We talk about the
I was 6 in 1943.
So the 43 one was the one with the rumor about the rumor.
That was a race riot.
Oh, the 43 was
a race riot. 67 was a civil disobedience. Everybody was stealing with everybody.
Okay, and I also heard that the 67 riot started a spark with one of the underground bars. The Big Four supposedly went in there and broke.
It was an after-hour joint.
Oh.
Yeah, it was an after-hour joint.
He went to school with the guy that they sent up there.
Yeah, Charles Henry.
Yeah, he went to school.
He came out of Miller. He was the commander.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, tell me a little bit about Black Bottom versus Paradise Valley. What was the difference, or was
Paradise
it a difference?
Valley was only consisted of 6 blocks. That's all it was. Paradise Valley, it had maybe 7 bars, a bowling alley,
supermarket.
No, and that was it.
Can you name some of the businesses in Paradise Valley back in the day?
You had the 606 bar, the Rainbow, the 36's bar, the Turf bar, and El Sino.
Wow.
And that was
Paradise Valley.
That was Paradise Valley.
Now what? Sonny Wilson, was he Paradise Valley or Black Bottom?
Sonny Wilson had the Forest Club.
That's right.
On Forest and Haston.
Now what side of town was that?
That was west. Haston up north.
Haston, so we consider on Paradise Valley side or Black Bottom?
No, neither one.
Oh wow.
It was just
Haston. But we knew of that, and then we traveled back and forth from here to there.
Sonny Wilson had one of the bigger. He had a bar, a bowling alley, and a skating rink. And he also believed in black power. The reason that he went out of business because he allowed Paul Robeson to speak at his bar. After that, the city condemned the bar because they didn't want him to speak.
Wow, that's deep. Wow. Now tell me a little bit about Hastings Street. I heard that you guys had a streetcar that traveled up and down. You had to put tokens in, and
yeah. Well, the city had all streetcars. Streetcars was all over the city.
Like buses.
No, the buses replaced the streetcars.
Oh.
Right.
The rapid transit that they're trying to they're putting in now, the streetcar, that's the same thing we had 65 years ago.
Oh, wow. Just making a way back, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
And right now, if you want to see the streetcars that ran up and down Woodward 60 years ago, go to Mexico City because they still use them and run them.
Oh, wow. Wow. And then, do you know anything about Idlewild, Michigan?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Idlewild was a black resort area because back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, blacks wasn't allowed to go to white resorts. So they created their own, which was Idlewild. And you had clubs, cottages. There's a ideal summer resort.
Wow, have you ever been up there?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Matter of fact, you still go.
Oh, wow.
I tell you what, it's coming up. They're having an Idlewild conclave here in March. And all the Idlewilds have been here for a convention like. I will let you know.
Please do. I would love to attend.
I know it's the third weekend in March, and it's going to be at the Doubletree on Southfield and Ford Road.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that.